just going to record as well. So, okay, welcome to my educational webinar on the UK Global Talent Visa in Digital Technologies. Today's webinar is my educational webinar, and I'll be going through a number of things, including what is the Global Talent Visa, the Stage 1 endorsement application and process. I'll also talk about definitely the new guidelines. They changed on the 1st of December 2020, and now the new guidelines are in full swing. All the old guidelines don't apply anymore. I'll also talk a little bit about appeals, because that's something that a lot of people do contact me about. And I'll also go through my packages of support so that I can help you if you need me. Finally, I'll talk about my DIY membership area, and that's where all my resources, my video explainers and my templates sit. And then you can have the opportunity after all that to ask all your questions if I haven't answered them in the webinar. So just quickly, a little bit about myself. I see new names, so it's great that I've got new people to come and join for the webinar. My name is Michelle Hewer. I'm Australian Vietnamese. I'm the CEO and founder of Made with Glove. It's a UK wearable technology company designing heated gloves. I'm also a Tech Nation visa coach as well, so I've coached a lot of people with the Stage 1 endorsement process. And my journey started when in 2016, I received an exceptional talent endorsement from Tech Nation. I was one of the top 50 back then who received it. And then shortly after that, I was the Tech Nation visa ambassador, because not many people knew about the visa back then. It was called the Exceptional Talent Visa. And so they needed ambassadors to help spread the word, to share their stories, and to help lots of people on their journey into getting the endorsement. The great thing about the endorsement is that it gives you a route to settlement. So in 2019, 3 years after I was endorsed with Exceptional Talent, I was able to apply for an indefinite leave to remain, which is like a permanent residency. And then shortly after, I became a British citizen. So my immigration journey after 3 visas has finally ended, and the last thing I need to do is apply for a British passport. But because of COVID, I've not been able to do that. So that's the last thing that I need to do, and then that's it. I've been in the UK for 7 years. I based myself in Manchester and Newcastle, and I travelled a lot down to London because London was where everything was at. I was fully immersed in all 3 tech ecosystems, so really busy in Manchester and Newcastle when I lived there, and London was just amazing. I think, you know, those 3 cities are very different. However, the same thing, or the most common thing about them all, is that the tech ecosystem is so collegial. Everyone is very supportive, and it's so easy to just go to one event or contact one organizer, and then you're in, and you meet so many people by doing that. So hopefully after COVID, you can go out there and start mingling and networking again. Before I quit my job to become a tech entrepreneur, I was an Australian solicitor. I was based in Australia and New Zealand for 8 years before I became a tech entrepreneur. And again, how this all started after I received my visa, I wrote a blog about my journey, because at that time, no one really knew about it. No one, I mean, when I did it, I didn't have any help at all. I didn't know who was applying as well. Certainly there were no blogs then. So I just wrote a blog myself and talked about my journey. And it is on my website if you haven't read it already. But that blog went viral. And then I started to get so many people contact me. And over the years, I've helped over 250 tech entrepreneurs, senior execs, and tech employees. In the last sort of 2 years, I've been doing this full time. With now my startup is my side hustle. That's my part-time job. But now I coach applicants full time because I'm just so busy and so many people want my help. My success rate is 80% compared to a 54% endorsement rate. And the biggest achievements just recently is that when I help my clients submit, we have to wait at least 8 weeks. That's what they say. But more recently, my clients have received a result within 3 to 27 hours, and that was 3 clients that received that. So that we were just blown away by how quickly they came back. My clients include people from WhatsApp, Sony, LinkedIn, startups, CTOs, CEOs, UX designers, business development managers and directors, digital marketing people, and graduates. So I've seen quite a bit. I've helped a lot, so I know what assessors are looking for. I know what assessors aren't looking for as well, because as I said, I do help a lot with appeals, which I'll go through later. Just a quick disclaimer, I only help with stage 1 endorsements. These are not Home Office visa applications. These are just, Tech Nation just endorse you, and then you go to the second step. For the visa stage. I'm not affiliated with the Home Office or Tech Nation. The only way I am affiliated is I am a member of the Tech Nation Visa Alumni Group. So once you do get your visa, you can join the alumni group, and that's where all the successful recipients are. And we have monthly meetups, and we're on a Slack channel and Facebook group. So once you get the visa, you can join the group. And I've got a lot of my clients who join the group, and it's a great networking opportunity there as well. So as I said, I did apply and I got my visa, and these are the types of things that the assessor will be looking for under the leadership criteria. So I picked leadership when I applied because it was an option back then, but now with the new guidelines, everyone has to select leadership. So I've written articles, I've sat on panels, I've been interviewed by the Sunday Times, I've been quoted in books, I've also featured in TechCrunch, won awards on Business Leader, and I was a panel judge for an IoT virtual hackathon for Media Tech Labs. So those are the types of things that they're looking for under leadership. And I just wanted to add this, is that sometimes when I go to events, I meet a lot of people who know me. I don't necessarily know them, but they've read my blogs, and they come up and they, thank me for my blogs, and that they received the visa because, they follow my blogs and read up on things. And yeah, it's just amazing that I meet just so many people along the way. So this is why it's so important to put yourself out there, because if you don't, people won't know who you are. And this is something I worked on really hard when I was growing my startup. These are some of my successful recipients, not all of them obviously, because I've helped quite a number of them from different countries. These are the ones that have agreed to be interviewed on my inspirational webinar, or for me to write blogs about them. So here we've got Christo from South Africa, interviewed him. He's on his way to London soon. Jonatas, he's from Brazil. I helped him just after I got mine. So yeah, we've known each other for a number of years. Mofaluke from Nigeria, Diego from Mexico, Jadazola from Nigeria. She's just arrived in London. Daniel from Mexico. I've got Tatiana from the Ukraine, Waiting from China, and then finally Mahmoud. He's my recent client that received a result within 3 days, just before Christmas. So we wanted to submit just before Christmas so that he can just relax, but then 3 days later, and even before Christmas, he got his successful result. So I'll be interviewing him on the 18th of February on my inspirational webinar. So do sign up for that and listen to his story. Katie is one of my biggest advocates. I helped her. She applied not once, but twice. And yeah, she's got a very interesting story. So read the blog there on my website for Katie's story. So yeah, I love working with all my clients. I do get a lot of people contacting me from India as well, but it just so happens that they're the shy ones. They don't want to be interviewed, which is absolutely fine, but I do help a lot from India. So what is the Global Talent Visa? It's formerly the Tier 1 Exceptional Talent Visa. It's a special visa that was introduced to allow highly skilled tech entrepreneurs and talent in digital tech the ability to apply for the right to live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. It's a two-stage process, so you must be endorsed by Tech Nation first, so that's stage one. You've got to meet the strict criteria set by Tech Nation before you can apply for stage two, the visa. You'll see in the criteria when I go through it, it's more than a job application. It does have the flavor of a job application, but it's so much more. And it is a massive process. I mean, I can attest to it because I've been there before, and I can also attest to it because I've helped a lot of my clients go through that process. So you'll see that there's a hashtag TechNation Visa if you do Google it. I use this, and TechNation have used this as their sort of their marketing material, because the UK Global Talent Visa is an umbrella visa. So they have different endorsing bodies that endorse applicants from different industries. So there's about 5 or 6. Tech Nation is one endorsing body that endorses people for specifically the digital tech sector. The other endorsing bodies are the Royal College of Engineering, the Royal Society, the Arts Council, the UKRI. They endorse people from, science, engineering, arts, fashion, architecture, and research. So that's why it can be confusing when you see Global Talent Visa, you see so many, but just focus on the Tech Nation one, because this is specifically for Tech Nation visa applicants. So I hope that's clear. I know it can be a minefield when you do, search for the Global Talent Visa. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So the benefits of the Global Talent Visa is that you have the freedom and flexibility to live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. It allows you to apply for indefinite leave to remain and then British citizenship. That's a major, major plus. You can also bring your dependents with you. So if you have a child under 18, or if you have a spouse, you can definitely bring them with you. You can also register a UK limited company on this visa. And the reason why this is important is because some visas that you have in the UK, so for example, students, they're on a student visa, but their visa restricts them from registering a UK limited company. So I helped a couple of students and graduates who are on this visa so that they can switch to the Global Talent Visa while they're a student, but that means that they can register a UK limited company, because some of them are quite entrepreneurial. So if you read Taras' story, he's very entrepreneurial. He's doing amazing now in the UK. So once he got his visa, he was able to register his company, get investment. So yeah, that's a real big plus. You can also work for a tech company without the need for a company sponsorship. So I know what it's like if you're, not in the UK, or if you are in the UK, you're tied to your company. You can't sort of just apply for another job if you're not happy with the job that you're in, because it hangs off your sponsorship. So it really does put you in a difficult position, especially when, if you're asking for a pay rise, or if you want to move positions or jobs, you just can't. But the Global Talent Visa allows you to do that because it is attached to you. So that's a huge way off. For me, I got the visa when I was the tech entrepreneur, obviously, for my company. But, I took a break from Made with Glove, and I was offered a position. I ran an IoT accelerator for 3 months, and I was able to do that because the visa was attached to me. After that, I then decided to move to Newcastle, and I worked for a university for 10 months. So I was able to do that as well, and then I went back to working for my startup. So that was really really good that I could do that, because I had the visa that allowed me to. It's also very cost effective as well. So I've had so many visas over the years in the UK, and they cost thousands, whereas this Global Talent Visa only is in the vicinity of hundreds. So that's a real plus. The only thing that is expensive for the visa is the immigration health surcharge. So everyone has to pay that. So I'll go through that in a sec. But the benefits are amazing. I mean, even though, the visa allows you to live and work in the UK, and, but it also gives you a big confidence boost, because Tech Nation have endorsed you with exceptional talent or promise. You can go into your jobs if you're working for a company, and you can ask for pay rises, you can get promotions, because you have that confidence in you. And I've had so many clients who've, come back to me and said, guess what, I've got promotion, and, they're moving up, and, this process does give them that boost if they do get it. So some of the stats here, main applicants from USA, from India, Russia, Pakistan, and Canada. There is a 54% success rate or endorsement rate. So 1 in 2 get through, which isn't great. But that's why I'm here to help. Successful recipients, so there have been about 3,400 applicants since 2014, and that's not a lot for 7 years. There's only 1,700 people, so you know I'm one of 1,700. But then the reason is because when I applied, and just only recently, they used to have a cap, so they would only allow 200 endorsements per year. So every April and every October they would open up 100 endorsements, and that isn't great, because not only applicants were applying, you can apply, but do you fit within the 100 pot that they had? So that was another stress as well, that so only quite recently that they lifted that cap, so now there's unlimited endorsements. So essentially, if you apply and you meet the criteria, you can be endorsed, so you don't have to worry about that cap. So I'm hoping that these numbers will definitely increase, in the next year. I definitely think there's going to be so many more applicants. And the reason also is because the visa is now open for people from the EU because of Brexit. So as you can see over here, there's, these are non-EU, but because of Brexit, people from the EU can now apply, which means more applications, which means hopefully more endorsements. So stats for female-male ratio, it's 70-30, which isn't great. And this is why I'm a huge advocate for women in tech. So I do like to help a lot of women even think about applying, because it can seem quite daunting, all the criteria and even the word exceptional talent. No one ever thinks that they are. So it doesn't matter. Don't think about that side of it. Just look at the criteria and just see that if, how you can meet it. So, and hopefully that will, I'm hoping that this will increase maybe to 60-40, and then hopefully we'll get a good balance in the next few years. And again, if you are successful, you can be part of the Tech Nation Visa alumni. So Tech Nation released a report late last year about stats for the Global Talent Visa. So these are just some of the stats. It's a pretty long report, so just go to their website and download it yourself. But I just picked the most sort of relevant ones for now. This is by country. So here you've got, this is the endorsement rate. So Nigeria, it's a 30% endorsement rate, followed by India, Pakistan, Turkey. US, there's a pretty high endorsement rate. China, there's a high endorsement rate. Now, just be wary though, because with China, there weren't many people who applied, but of those people that did apply, 86% got endorsed. So whereas in the US, a majority of people from the US applied, and there was a 74% endorsement rate. So actual numbers, US and India were the top numbers that applied. But then when you look at the endorsement rate, it's at 39% as opposed to 74%, which is a big difference there. Main skills: software engineering, business development, product management, data scientists and solutions architects. Those are the ones that are being endorsed. It's not to say that if you don't fall in that, you won't be endorsed, but that's what they're seeing. I help a lot of UX designers. And I have to actually say that here it says 0 video game designer, but in December I did help one video game designer. He actually did it on his own and he was unsuccessful. So he came to me and we appealed, and thank goodness his appeal went through and he was endorsed with exceptional promise. So he was at risk of being his visa expiring and he had to leave the country, but thank goodness his appeal came through and he was endorsed, and now he is the only video game designer that has been endorsed. So that was really good for him. So pleased. He's from Thailand, so that was really good. These are the numbers. You'll see here there's 18, 19, 19, 20 and 2021. This is because these stats start from April. So it's from April to April. So when I applied, it was in 2016, so there weren't many. But then, you know, as they got more ambassadors and people, you know, writing blogs about it and talking about it, there were more applications. So in 1920, there were 1,000 applications. But, you know, even during COVID, look how many applications there were since April. People were at home. I was so busy when COVID hit because people were working from home. They were thinking about their future. They were thinking about their jobs. You know, was it safe? You know, so there's been a lot of applications. We've still got 2 months before the next, you know, the 2021 data comes through. So yeah, this year is, you know, surpassed last year, which is great. And again, 3,400 applicants since 2014, but with a 54% success rate at 1,700. Hopefully that will increase soon. So the process is, so there's stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is the endorsement stage, but within stage 1, there's 2 steps. The first step is you have to pay and register online at the Home Office. So that's where you pay your £456. You've got 15 working days to then upload all your documents on the Technation portal. And then you wait 8 weeks or up to 8 weeks. During COVID, it's been so quick. I've had, as I said, 3 hours, 27 hours. The sort of the average is about 2 to 4 weeks usually now. Before, I mean, I had to wait quite a long time for mine, but because again, everyone's at home with COVID, assessors are coming back a lot quicker, which is great. So I would say probably a 4-week wait now. You get an email from the Home Office to say whether or not you're successful or unsuccessful. If you're successful, it's just an email to say you are endorsed with exceptional talent. If you're unsuccessful, it says, please find attached the feedback. Okay, so if you get an attachment, unfortunately, it means that you're not endorsed. So if you are successful, you go straight to stage 2, and that's where you apply for your visa at the Home Office. This is the bit that I don't help with, but it's quite simple. If you've got that endorsement letter, then you go ahead and apply for stage 2. It's £152. You do your biometrics. When I applied, it was £19.20. And then the immigration health surcharge is quite a lot now. They've only just increased it from $400 per year to $624 per year. So if your visa is 5 years, that's 624 times 5, which is a lot. So for me though, when I applied, it was $200 per year. So it wasn't as expensive. So I got in quite early and quite cheaply. So, and this process takes 3 to 8 weeks. For me, because I was already in the UK and I was switching from another visa, it took about 2 weeks for me. And it was mainly because I wasn't home to wait for the postman to give me the my passport. So I could have got it like within a week of doing my biometrics. But they like to give, you know, sort of 3 to 8 weeks. Now, if you're unsuccessful, and, you know, as a 54% success rate, that can happen, you can appeal the decision, provided you think that the assessor made a mistake. And, you know, sometimes that happens. You've got 28 calendar days in which to respond, and then the technician assessors have 28 calendar days to come back to you with a decision. They can either say, yeah, we agree that the first assessor made a mistake, so we will endorse you. So then you go over to stage 2 Home Office visa application, or the assessor, the new assessor will say, well, actually, we agree with the first assessor. These are the reasons. Now, they can either agree with the first assessor, or they can just turn around and disagree and make their own comments as well. So that's the risk there. There is no fee though to appeal. So long as you don't have a visa in the UK that's running out and you're running out of time, I don't think there is any harm in appealing, for the purpose of maybe, I mean, if there is a mistake, but also to get further feedback from the second assessor, because then you can decide if you want to resubmit, or that you know for sure that the second assessor's agreed, you know for sure that this is not the right route for you. Or, and this is what's happened in the past for me, is that a lot of applicants apply by themselves, or they ask lawyers or consultants to help them, and then they come to me, and you can't put new evidence in. So all I can do is help you in terms of pointing out the mistake that the assessor did. So this is why, maybe resubmitting again might be a good opportunity, because perhaps the lawyer or the consultant may have made a mistake on your application. And I've seen this a lot. In December and January, I was so busy fixing applications. Okay, so, and I'll go through that later. So, it really does depend. So I do help on appeals. So just ask me if you are in that process. So these are eligibility requirements. Because this is a technician visa, obviously, people have technical skills, and this is the one, from my last slide, for technician stats. People who have software engineering skills are the ones that are being endorsed, because obviously it's a tech visa. However, people with business development skills are being endorsed. That's the second highest. So if you have business development skills, VC, you're growing a company, you're creating products, you're a product manager, you're in sales, you're a marketing expert, you're a CEO or CIO, head of ops, focus on growing digital tech businesses, you can still apply. Okay, now those that are ineligible are those who work for agencies or for companies that are outsourcers, or their consultancies working in a technical management consultancy role. This is really clear now. Before it wasn't, but I'll go through the definition of a product-led digital technology company. And what they really want is for you to work in a company that is a product-led digital technology company. So those that are actually building products so that they can sell to customers, as opposed to asking a consulting firm to build the products for them so that they can then go and sell to their own customers. So that's a big no. So no consultancies, no outsourcers. Okay. So here you need to provide 15 documents of 3 pages each. That means that there's 45 pages. A lot of my clients feel like it's a PhD of their entire career, and that is true, definitely. I know what it's like. When I applied, though, it was only a 2-page limit. That was really hard, because trying to squeeze everything in 2 pages is really hard. Now they've extended it to 3 pages, but even then that means more work and more documents. So within the 15 documents, everyone has to provide their CV, their personal statement. So that needs to be 1,000 words or 7,000 characters. And this needs to be sort of uploaded onto the technician portal instead of, doing a copy and paste into their online form, as opposed to attaching it to the portal, attaching an actual document. So they have like this character limit, and they will count down the words to make sure that you're 1,000 words. Okay, and I don't like to call it a personal statement. I prefer to call it a professional statement, because it is about your achievements in the tech industry, and what value you can add to the UK tech sector. You also have to provide 3 letters of support by experts in your field, and they have to be senior. So these are the 3 things you have to provide. Now, then you've got 10 documents in which to submit. And there are 5 criteria, and you only need to select 3. However, one of the 3 is mandatory. So I'll go through that in a sec. And then there are 4 optional criteria, of which you only need to select 2 from. Okay. And for me, obviously, you pick the 2 that are the strongest for you. So let's have a look at the definition of a product-led digital technology company. And this is something that I've been chasing them for the last few years about, giving us the definition of it, because it's all throughout the guidelines, and there was no definition that we could go by. So now, thankfully, in the new guidelines, there is a definition. And it makes it really clear what a product-led digital technology company is. And that means that it's a business that provides a proprietary digital technical service, product, platform, or hardware as their primary revenue source. So the company needs to be building proprietary, so their own products, okay? And it can be a service, product, platform, or hardware. It can be the creation of software, processing or storage of data, the creation or application of technical computing hardware, and that is often a central aspect of their business model. So that's their core work, because, you know, a lot of companies have like, you know, product, and then they've got consultancies, and they've got like a service arm. But if the building of the product is their primary revenue source and it's central to their business model, then yes, that would fall under the definition of a product-led digital technology company. And this is another exclusion, which is already in the skills part. Remember, I just talked about the eligibility. It excludes consultancies, outsourcing and technology-related consultancy groups focused on process service delivery or solution systems architecture. Okay, so they've made this really clear now. Before it was a bit, you know, not sure, but now it's very clear. It excludes those people. Okay, so there's these criteria, but first we need to talk about, are you an exceptional talent or exceptional promise? People who choose, and this is up to you to decide, if you have more than 5 years experience, you should go under talent. If you have less than 5 years experience, you should go under promise. When I applied, they didn't even explain that. They just said, just pick talent or promise. So obviously I picked talent because it just sounded better and I got it. But then over the years, they changed it. And now it's, if you're more than 5 years experience, talent. If you're less than 5 years, promise. And a lot of graduates and people young in their career go for promise. Now, there's also another difference, which I didn't realize at the time, but then when they changed it, I was very lucky in that if you are endorsed with talent, it means that in 3 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. If you are endorsed with promise, it means that in 5 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. This is why the visa, the definition of the visa is you can live and work in the UK for up to 5 years because of this talent and promise definition and distinguishing of it. Okay. The assessor also has discretion. So if you have like 15 years experience, but you feel like you've got promise evidence, the assessor is going to say, actually, this person should apply for talent. So we're going to assess them under talent. So just be careful. Don't be cheeky. Follow the guidelines and make sure you fit within them. Okay. So the mandatory criteria is you have to show that you are a leader or potential leader. This used to be in the optional criteria. It's now moved to the only mandatory criteria. I've put it in red because this is new. Now, there are 4 optional criteria. You have to show innovation, proof of recognition for work outside of your immediate occupation that advances the digital tech sector. You have to show you've made any significant contributions or impact to a product-led digital technology company, or you can show that you've made academic contributions. Okay, so you only need to choose 2 out of 4, right? So also, because it needs to make up 10 documents with 3 criteria, it just means that you pick, you choose 3 pieces of evidence for leading potential talent, 3 pieces of evidence each for for the 2 options. That brings it up to 9 documents. But then there's an extra document that you can choose. Just pick the one that you're strongest in, but pick the one that you've already chosen. Don't pick like a random one, because then they'll say, well, you don't fulfill this criteria because you've only got 1 document against it. Okay. So in other words, pick, use 4, maybe 4 if you're good at, if you've got a lot of evidence under leadership. So put 4 pieces of evidence there, and 3 and 3, which makes it up to 10. Okay. So this leadership criteria, I chose this criteria when I applied. It's now a mandatory criteria. So you need to show that you have been recognized as a leading or potential talent, because leading is talent, potential talent is promise in the digital technology sector. A leader of exceptional talent or promise must show extraordinary ability by sustained or emerging national or international recognition. So sustained means obviously continuous. And then emerging means obviously if you're an exceptional promise, you're just coming up into your field of expertise to become a leader. The individual will be able to demonstrate a level of expertise or emerging expertise which places them at the forefront of their respective field in the digital technology sector. So this is really important, and this is why I feel that a lot of people forget that, you've got so much experience. If you're in the digital tech sector and you've got 5 years experience, you should really have some leadership skills. If you've less than 5 years, you should show some emerging leadership skills. So examples are, if you have any organizational leadership skills, which are, the growth of a company, the growth of a team. If you've got product leadership, growth of a product, or thought leadership, which is industry thought leadership. If you're a marketing or business development, you can show leadership through increase in revenue, customer growth, or commercial success. If you've been dealing with some significant open source projects, so that's outside of your day-to-day job, and you obviously work on, GitHub or Stack Overflow accounts, and you see that you've contributed to a community. If you've won any awards, so personal awards, not company awards, but they want industry awards. So have a look at things and your achievements within your company, and then also have a look at your achievements outside of your company as well. This is the thing that sets you apart from the rest, okay? It's industry thought leadership, industry leadership. Looking at speaking engagements as well. So any industry events and you've been asked to speak at. Have you been published in any major trade publications? Have you written any articles for, big tech magazines that you can showcase? Do you command a high salary? And it's up to you to show them and determine what a high salary is. You can certainly ask me, what I think. If you've been asked to speak on a panel, I've done this a lot, especially on topics of wearable tech and diversity in tech and things like that. If you are a judge at any competition, so I've been a judge many times for technology competitions. And then if you're also involved in any large technology-led industry initiatives. And these are the types of things like STEM programs. Obviously the initiative is to put more kids and girls to work in the STEM industry. For me, I used an example where I built a community called Women of Wearables, and we grew the community from 0 to 8,000 in 18 months. Now they've got 20,000 followers globally, and we built that from scratch, myself and my co-founder. And this is something else that I did in addition to running my startup. So that's a huge industry initiative because we were trying to get more women in wearable tech, giving them visibility and showcasing what they were building. And yeah, we were very successful at it. So certain pieces of evidence that you can show to evidence leadership are letters of support. So they want letters of support from global industry executives. So have a think about people not only that you've worked with, but people who are in the industry, experts in the field that can vouch for you. And this is why I feel like your network is so important. Don't just look within your company, look outside of your company. I have a lot of mentors outside of, my own small network. I have, lots of people that I call upon, and they are pretty much experts in their field. Any news clippings or articles that you can showcase, any media that was written about you or you've appeared in, any actual awards that you won, if you have won awards, again, industry awards, any promotional material. So if you've been asked to speak in an event, ask them for the promotional material, or obviously it's probably online. Lines of code. So again, if you're involved in any open source projects, provide proof of it. Any articles that you've written again or have been featured in, and any media and press. So when I work with clients, I always Google them. You have to be Googleable. It's there. You've got social media, you've got everything at your disposal now. So there is really no excuse to not be Googleable. This is the what the assessors feel as well. And this is why leadership is so important. If you are going to be endorsed with exceptional talent, this is the type of thing that they would expect. Okay, and here, this is something that I'm really passionate about because I've been through the process. When I started out as a tech entrepreneur, I did not have any clue of, who I was or who do I tell people who I am? Because I came from a legal background in Australia. How do I promote myself to now being someone known in the wearable tech industry? I had to raise my profile, and I had to raise my profile fast because I needed to learn so much. I was new in the country, and I needed to be an ambassador for my company and to negotiate and to make agreements. And if people don't know who I am, they're not going to work with me. So I worked really hard on my personal branding, and it really is about an intentional effort to create a public perception of you by positioning yourself as a leader or authority in your field. And it's not about bragging. I was so scared of, putting myself out there. I thought it was like, I don't want to brag about myself, but it's not about bragging. It's definitely about highlighting your strengths, establishing your reputation, building trust, and communicate your unique attributes that you bring to your current or desired industry. So for me, I wanted to work with people, but people were Googling me before they would actually meet with me. So if I didn't have a presence, obviously they didn't want to meet with me, right? So I had to work on creating this public perception of myself, wrote lots of blogs. I attended a lot of events. I was teaching, talking about wearable tech and where the industry was going. I was really immersing myself in the wearable tech sector. I then got started, asked for, to write articles. I was being interviewed, and then I was asked to speak at events because people saw that I was doing so much in the space. Okay. And then thought leadership, and this is something also that I'm really passionate about, because then that kind of, once you've done your personal branding and you've shaped that, then that's when you can look at thought leadership, and that kind of merges into that. It's about sharing your insights and ideas and a unique point of view that provokes new ways of thinking, sparks discussion, debates, and inspires action. A true thought leader knows a topic inside out, has formed a clear, unique, and defensible point of view about it, and freely shares that perspective. So have a think about, who your role models are and how you can become that person as well. And it is really easy, only if you put your mind to it and do the work. For me, I did a lot of work around this. I was very active in trying to promote my own personal brand and my thought leadership in the space. It's a very noisy environment out there, and you need to be different, and you need to show why and how you're different. I want to share this book that I read when I was in the beginning of my journey of being a tech entrepreneur. It's by an Australian author, actually, and I've met him a few times, and he is based in London. It's called Key Person of Influence. And this is the book that I started with. I went to a lot of his events, watched a lot of his YouTube videos, and I still have it 7 years later, and I do go back to it every now and then. And he talks about raising your profile. It's the 5-step method to become one of the most highly valued and highly paid people in your industry. And it's really easy to read. So if you want to just read this book just to get you thinking, I highly recommend it, so that you can look at your personal brand and your thought leadership. So let's go on to the 4 criteria. So the first one is about innovation. It's about showing that you have a proven track record for innovation, or examples as a founder, a senior exec of a product-led digital technology company, or as an employee working in a new digital field or concept. So you need to show some kind of innovations, show why is it innovative, how is it innovative, and how you can do that is obviously from patents, but not everyone has a patent, and that's okay. I've only helped about 4 clients that have had patents. You can show designs, you can show your concepts or prototypes if you're technical. If you're business, you can show accounts, stockists, and your strategy. And then, again, explain why is it innovative? How does it look or fare against the industry? And then finally, employment contract. In the guidelines, they do say, you can put your employment contract to showcase innovation. No, please don't do this, because in employment contracts say 3 things: your title, your salary, and bonuses. It doesn't talk about innovation. So please don't put employment contract as evidence of innovation. I had a client that did this on his own, and he put all his employment contracts under innovation. Of course, he was unsuccessful. So we resubmitted, redrafted his whole innovation story, and he got it. So Second optional criteria is proof of recognition for work beyond your occupation that contributes to the advancement of the field. There are two things you need to prove here: work beyond your occupation and that it advances the field. So community work, because that's not part of your job. Volunteer work, not part of your job. Open source projects, again, shouldn't be part of your job because it's open source. And it advances the field because you're helping the community. You're helping the GitHub or Stack Overflow community with any of their projects. You can show evidence by letters of support. You can, teach at workshops. I did a lot of wearable tech workshops that I taught at. It wasn't part of my startup. I did it just because. And that's, again, advancing the field by promoting more girls in STEM. Mentoring or coaching, you just have to be careful with this because a lot of people mentored or coached startups, and assessors have come back and said that's not proof of recognition for work outside of your occupation. I mean, it could be because it was outside of your work, but how does it advance the field? Because if you're only helping one startup, how does it advance the sector or the field? So they determined that mentoring of a startup is consulting work. So just be careful of that. I've had a lot of feedback about that, and particularly from certain similar lawyers and consultants who did put that through. So yeah, that's not good. STEM ambassador programs. So I'm a STEM ambassador. So again, it's helping the community. It's helping advance the field by being involved in this. Significant impact is a third optional criteria. So this is about making any significant technical, commercial, entrepreneurial contributions to the field as a founder, senior exec, or employee of a product-led digital technology company. So this is about, if it wasn't for you that worked on this project or product, what would it look like? So again, analytics, data, metrics, growth. Talk about the project, but use the word I instead of we, because I have a lot of clients that talked about we throughout the whole evidence, and the assessor said, we can't see what contribution they made to the project because it is about contributions. So really pinpoint where in the project that you made the significant impact. Analytics, revenue. Look at the project before you started versus after you finished, then you can see what impact you made. Certainly, if you are early in your career and you've also made some impact, but you can also talk about the potential impact as well, and scalability. So for my business, obviously my gloves aren't out yet, but I'm developing heated gloves. However, it is scalable because I can apply it to beanies, scarves, hats, socks. So that's showing potential impact, but I did provide other impact as well to my company. Any awards, so if you worked on a project or product that won awards for the company, you can showcase that because that is an impact. Also think about the impact to the company, to customers, to the partners, and to the wider industry. Okay, so that's really important because you're not only looking at what you've done for the company. Have a think about what did it mean for different stakeholders, and definitely to the industry. The fourth optional criteria, and this is what I chose, is you demonstrated exceptional ability or examples in the field by academic contributions through research published or endorsed by an expert. So these are people who have research backgrounds or who are a part of industry, but they collaborate with universities because universities do have a lot of innovation. They work with industry so they can obviously promote and produce innovative products. So if you have been published in journals, if you've been a part of any R&D grants, if you've had any innovation vouchers or you've contributed to, and for me, I won an innovation voucher. This is how I got involved with working with the university, and I got a letter of support from the professor to say how I contributed to his research, but he also contributed to my product development, and it includes academic research as well. Not many people choose this, but it is available if you have 3 examples of academic contributions. Now, talking about appeals, 54% endorsement rate. So, appeals, there could be a lot. You have to really look at the assessor's feedback, and if they did make a mistake, you cannot produce new evidence. You only produce or just convince them in your appeal that this assessor made a mistake. These are the reasons, and point them to where in your application that they made that mistake. You've got 28 calendar days to respond, and they've got 28 calendar days to come back to you. And it does get sent to a new assessor to review your appeal and also to review your initial application, and then they would provide any feedback. You can go, there are different strategies and options for you. As I said before, if you are on a tight deadline and your visa is running out, then appeals might not be good for you because you're running out of time. It might just be easier to resubmit. Or if you have time, there might be no harm in appealing because you feel that the assessor did make a mistake and you can point them to the mistake. Again, I was extremely busy in December and January fixing mistakes, and and this is why I would like to look at applications before they're submitted, because I've done this so long and I've done many appeals, so I know immediately where things are. I just recently helped a client who had a lawyer help them, and they made a fundamental error, not the client but the lawyer, and obviously they got rejected, and then I had to come and help them. Again, I had a consultant that didn't do great work for these clients that just kept coming to me. It was the same consultant, one after the other, and I just had to stop asking which consultant it was because it was just ridiculous. So I had to help them with their appeals as well. So yeah, it's not nice getting an appeal, but 54% comebacks will get through, so don't be too disheartened. There is always options, and I can always help you. Top tips: start preparing early. Consider your future plans in the UK, definitely your 1 to 3 year plan and your 3 to 5 year plan, especially in your personal statement and in your letters of recommendation. Your network is your net worth. I am so thankful that I had so many people to call upon to help me, and that really did save me, because letters of support are really, really useful, and experts, they will vouch for you if you've got good relationships with them. Again, EU citizens can now apply for the Global Talent Visa. Just quickly, I'll have a look at my packages of support. I've got the DIY membership area. I also introduced new strategy sessions. So I help you with your roadmap and to really distinguish and help you filter through all your documents and all the evidence that you can submit. My strategy sessions include access to my DIY membership area. And these strategy sessions last 2 to 3 hours because we really do go through everything. Then if you want me to help you with the review package, that includes the strategy session, and then I help you in the middle. So if you've got any questions halfway through, I can help you before you finish off your application, and then I review. This stops you from going down a garden path or go down a rabbit hole, which you've then done something wrong, and then by the time I get to it, it needs a complete overhaul. So this is why my review package, I help you from the beginning, the middle, and the end. So that's my review package. And then my premium coaching package, it's my most popular package. This is the 80% success rate. I help you from start to finish, all 15 documents, editing as well, help you draft it and hold your hand throughout the whole process. We work on 2 documents a week. It is an intense process. However, some clients do go over the 8 weeks, and that's absolutely fine. I stay with you to the end, but you know that you've got my full support and attention. And this is where my inspirational webinars come in. All my clients who have the premium coaching package end up coming to my webinars and just reliving their experience with me. I only accept a limited number. And then I do help with appeals as well. So just help ask questions. I do have some more content on my website. I've got a new website launching next week. That's where all my blogs are. I have educational and inspirational webinars. I have a newsletter, so you're all subscribed on that now. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. But I'll give you all the details on my newsletter. And please do check your spam, because my newsletters do go to spam or junk. I've got office hours on Monday, so if you want to schedule a time with me, please put it in the chat and I'll email you, and check your spam, and we can make an appointment. I've got only a couple available now because I had my 1 o'clock session. I also have an ebook as well, which I can share with you. And my next inspirational webinar is on the 18th of February with Mahmoud. He's the one that submitted on the 13th of December, and then on the 16th of December, he was successful. So he's agreed. He's from Egypt, planning on coming to London. So he's happy to come and share his story. So please do. He's an AI expert and he's just super, super smart, technical background, but really sweet. Loved working with Mahmoud, and we finished it in 8 weeks. He actually tried to do it himself, but realized it was just too much for him. So he asked me to help. He actually came to one of my webinars and then ended up working with me. So that was really good. My next educational webinar is on the 4th of March. So sign up for that if you want to. That'll be in my newsletter. So I'll just quickly, very quickly, just show you my membership area. So I hope you can still see it. Here it is. There's loads and loads of things here for you. Lots of online resources, personal statement, letters of recommendation, checklist, all the criteria. I've got explainer videos, wording examples and appeals, and more interviews, and my own application document as well. So yeah, that's part of, some of it is part of my package and some of it is not. So yeah, just have a look at that if you want to avail yourself to it. So I hope that's very helpful for you. So I do have a lot of questions, not many actually, and I know I am running out of time, but please do stay on if you can. I will go through the questions, and this is recorded, so I will upload this onto my YouTube channel. So let's have a look at some of the questions. Yes, I am Australian, so someone did say that I sounded Australian. Okay, so you have these exceptional skills, but from the last years, you're in Dubai with all your innovative approaches. Will it be considered? You have domains in products, innovative solutions that you crafted. So yeah, so long as you have a product-led digital technology company, or you've worked for a product-led digital technology company, you can use those as examples. But yeah, definitely you can. They like to see a range of products over the last 5 years. So just, yeah, so any 3 examples over the last 5 years is sufficient, so long as you meet the criteria. So we can have a chat outside of this if you like. You wanted to know the name of the book, sorry. It's called Key Person of Influence. It's by Daniel Priestley. You can get it on Amazon. I actually got this for free. So because I went to one of his events, and this came with the little swag bag as well. So, but it's quite cheap actually. You can buy it on Kindle. He's actually got another, he's got 4 or 5 books, but this is another good book that he's written. It's called The Entrepreneur Revolution. Really easy to read. So, you know, you can just flick through it and stuff. So yeah, Daniel Priestley. Okay, some of products. Okay, so you give free service. So that could be proof of recognition for work outside of your immediate occupation that advances the digital tech sector potentially. So they could potentially write a letter about, you know, your impact to them. So that could be under impact. How does a marketing expert show exceptional promise? So as a marketing expert, you need to show any proof of revenue, customer growth, or commercial success. So analytics, really helpful. And also your marketing strategy, that is part of your work, and that can showcase growth as well. Okay, so yes, I'm just quickly reading. This isn't a long one, Sarav. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to quickly look at it. You're doing masters. Okay, so you did your masters, and that work was presented at one of the well-known international conferences. You've got a letter from a professor. It depends. Yes, you could potentially do it. You could put it under academic contributions. as one example, but don't forget you need 2 other examples to fulfill the academic contributions part. So it really does depend, and we can have a proper chat about that as well, because the academic contribution is quite specific. So I'd need to talk to you about that if that's okay. You co-founded an agri-tech startup, which is still working on its hardware prototype. I've actually helped someone with their agri-tech startup, and they went under promise. So yes, we use them, that as an example, but again, you need to show 3 examples of either innovation. So that could be one example of innovation, but you need to provide other examples as well to fulfill that criteria. So a lot of, I see some questions is mainly about one example. Yeah, you can, but don't forget you need to provide 2 other examples to fulfill that criteria. Yeah, so yeah, definitely revenue from e-commerce websites. Just be careful with e-commerce though, because unless you're building an actual product or service or platform, then yeah, you can use that as an example. Definitely website traffic. So one of my clients was a UX designer, and they were, their job was to design the website and to increase traffic. So we used that as an example of evidence. Yeah. So Rob, you're asking a question about any op-ed or news article that exemplifies thought leadership. Yeah, definitely. So you can show that, also show page views if you can, any metrics. So contact the people that published your work to showcase, you know, that people, what types of people are reading that article, who do they target, and how did your article add value to them, and why did they pick you to write the article? Okay. Sorry, I've got a question from Santosh. I'm trying to read it and answer the question at the same time. As a head of technology and UX UI, which one to choose while applying? In your case, it's rare that you have both these expertise. Yeah, so I do have a lot of clients that have both business and technical skills. So pick the one that you're strongest in as like the main one, but then throughout your evidence, you can say, well, I've got a technical background, so these are my technical skills, but then, you know, some type of evidence can showcase your business skills, and how does that? So it really depends on what evidence you want to choose to showcase which skill. And if it's both, show both. In your personal statement, you'll explain that. In your letters of recommendation, they should explain that. So it really is up to you how you want to craft and tell your story, but it is okay. Now, when you do your online application under the TechNation portal, they will ask you to pick one. You can't pick like lots. Just pick one. Don't worry about it too much, because they're using it for statistical purposes. So yeah, you can merge the two in your evidence, but when you click the drop down menu in the online TechNation portal, just pick one, it's fine. Okay, so I've got a question about a digital marketing using website traffic as proof. Yeah, that's fine. I just have a look at some other questions. I have proprietorship. Yeah, I've answered that question. What's the ratio with promise or talent? I think it is in the report. So have a look at the TechNation report. I've got it here, but it's in between all my bits of paper. So have a look at the TechNation report. I think they have that in it. So just check that. If not, do I have? I think it's pretty on par or balanced, I think. But it doesn't really matter, because if you're talent, you get endorsed with talent. If you're a promise, you get endorsed with promise. It doesn't matter what the ratio is, really. It's, yeah, don't worry too much, but it might be in the report. So, okay, there are other questions. I think I should take it offline. So can you, Sarov and Oli Minua, can you please just let me know that we can have a chat on Monday, because it is a lot that I have to read and it really does depend on the circumstance. So let's have a chat on Monday so I can go through it properly with you. So yeah, that will be really good. But I do hope that I've answered everyone else's questions. Yeah, it's been a great attendance rate, because this is my first webinar for the year, and also with the new guidelines. It's really important to really do understand the guidelines. I've also got, I've got a couple of clients that are now already submitting under the new guidelines. So just, yeah, speak to me and then we can have a chat and then get you submitted. But I hope this webinar has helped you get a bit more clear about the process, and please do email me. Yep, that's fine if you're applying in 6 to 8 months time, don't worry, that's normal. I have a lot of clients that are going to apply in 6 to 8 months time, but just be careful of, your evidence as well. So don't get letters signed 6 months before you submit. With the letters, get them signed, almost very close to submission date as well. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll email you so we can get a time in. But if anyone else wants to book in a time, just put in the chat that you want to schedule a time with me, and I'll email you in the next sort of hour or two. And please do check your spam, because I am going to send a newsletter out tomorrow, and then that will give you access to the webinar and all the other information that I've given you, because I know it's been a lot today, a lot of content. I can talk about this till the cows come home because I'm just so passionate about this. I know it, like the back of my hand. I'm extremely been doing this for so many years, and it really, I do relive the experience every time I work with a client, and I know exactly how it feels. You've got questions, you question yourself all the time throughout this process, and that's what I did. I didn't sleep for 3 months when I applied myself. It was really hard. So okay, thank you everyone. Yeah, I'll get your emails and I'll send you an email tonight. So I hope that's it. Thank you for staying on. I was 7 minutes over, but I hope you found this really helpful, and I'm always here to answer any questions. But yes, please do book in the time with me on Monday so we can have a one-to-one. So that timing is it's getting booked out, so put it down, otherwise I'll have to see you on Tuesday. But thank you so much. Please give me feedback as well. I love feedback, good or bad, so I can help you. So perfect, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go now, and everyone have a lovely evening. Have a nice dinner if you're on this side of the world. Otherwise, have a great day if you're on the other side of the world, and I will see you soon, hopefully on the 18th of February. You will meet Mahmoud and he will go through his journey. And then on the 18th of March, I've just been advised that my client, who's a digital marketer, she was successful within 3 days of submitting. So we worked with each other, I think for 3 months actually. She had a bit to go through, so she was just endorsed. So I will interview her on the 18th of March, and please do come to that. I've got Mahmoud on the 18th of February, Jen on the 18th of March. So definitely, I'll see you then. Thanks guys, bye.